All right, welcome, welcome. So I want to share with you just briefly, while I have you here, how to do what you're seeing here on the screen, which is a formula for retail drop shipping that's going to teach you how to price things effectively. So I'm going to call this the retail drop shipping pricing strategy formula. Not that this is the only way to do it, but I think for my clients that are just starting, this is the best way. The biggest question I get, and this has happened a lot even this week, is hey Trevor, how do I price my products? Like, what's the best way to come up with a price to sell an item for? And I've got a real simple formula, and I swear it works for almost anything, and it usually will yield a good 20% profit margin in most cases, sometimes a little bit more, which is about what you want in retail drop shipping. And here's the formula. Take your we'll say your raw price. So this, we'll just call this price plus shipping, and then equals, we'll say X. Then you're going to take X and multiply that by 1.1, and that's going to, in this case, equal Y. And then you're going to take Y and you're going to multiply that by 1.45. Okay? And we'll take it from there. And I'll explain why I break it up this way. This probably looks a little confusing. It's really not. Okay? I'll do the first example. Let's go to Amazon. And I'm just going to grab a random item within Amazon here from the dining room. We're going to grab a the table and chairs set here. Let's start with this one right here. Okay. Excuse me. So here's an item that's priced at what? I know this is kind of small on your screen, but it's priced at $129.99. Okay. So I'm just going to say in our formula that's $130 plus how much is shipping? Well, you got to look, because some suppliers have free shipping over a certain amount. Other suppliers are going to explicitly charge you shipping. You know, some are going to be like, if it's like Target or Walmart, it's going to be free shipping as long as you spend over a certain amount. So you have to kind of learn from your supplier what the shipping is going to cost. In this example that we're doing, the shipping, it looks like, is $95. $95.45. I'm just going to round that down and we'll just say 95. Okay. So that's price plus shipping, and let's get a number on that. Do it in your head or break out your calculator, and I'll tell you, over the years I've gotten lazy. I just punch it into the calculator. That's $225. Okay, now, what do we do with this? We times this number, okay, and I'll use this as a multiply symbol, times that by 1.1, okay, which is then going to equal 247. Okay? Now, why are we timesing by 1.1 here? Well, this is your sales tax. See, a lot of times if I buy an item from Amazon, I'm going to be charged sales tax. Or if I buy a product from Walmart or Target or whatever, most of these online shops have some sort of sales tax that has to get factored in. So if today I went and wanted to buy this item for myself, I would get charged $130 plus their shipping cost plus my state sales tax rate if I'm having it shipped to me. If I'm having it shipped to a family member out in Oregon, or we'll say, I guess that's not a good example. Let's do a family member in I'm trying to think of a state where I've got family outside of Utah. We'll say Nevada. right? I'm going to get charged Nevada's sales tax rate, or a friend in Wisconsin, I'm going to get charged their state sales tax rate. So we don't know how much sales tax is because we don't know where our customer is from. That's why I'm sort of estimating 10%. That's where the 1.1 comes from, okay? So it's going to cost me roughly $247 from Amazon to get this shipped out somewhere. That number is important because then I take that number and multiply that by 1.45, okay? So let's do that. 247 times 1.45 equals 358. So my sales, or my total price is going to be $357.99, which is essentially $358, but I'm going to do the 99 or the 97. That's something you should get in the habit of doing. Okay? This item right here, $357.99. Now you might think, wow, that's way overpriced. I mean, right? I could buy it for $130 plus $100 in shipping, but remember, you've got sales tax too. So if you were buying it, I'm telling you, your price from Walmart would be very close to this. And you're saying, well, wait a minute, Trevor, you're saying I'm going to take that price, that $247, I'm going to multiply by 1.45. You are. And that's what's going to give you that $357.99. People will still buy at that price, I promise you that. On most products, that's true. There are very few products where this formula doesn't work very well. Now, what I like to look at here is I like to see how much I made here, right? So just for fun, I'm going to say, well, what if I did really sell it for that? I sell it for $358, right? Well, I don't get to keep all of that, do I? Because I've got to minus the $247, which was my cost. Remember, $247 was the $130.95 times the sales tax. So let's do that. $358 minus $247. That equals $111, right? But I don't get to keep all of that $111. That's not my profit, because if I sold it for $358, what am I forgetting here, guys? eBay fees, right? And PayPal fees. I need to multiply that by 13%, right? eBay slash PayPal fees equals 13% of sales price, okay? So I said my sales price was $358. If I multiply that by 0.13, that gives me $46.50 in eBay and PayPal fees. Okay, so I need to take that away from my 111. So really, I didn't make 111. I made 111 minus $46.50. I made $64.50. Well worth it, right, for one sale. Was that a good profit margin? Sure. Absolutely. Again, if my sales price was $358 and I'm making $64, 64 divided by 358, that's about an 18% profit margin right there. Is that making sense, guys? Is there any part of this equation right here that doesn't make sense? Sometimes I get going on it and I get spitting out numbers and typing it in, and I lose some of you guys. You guys here with me on that? This is about all I can expect in retail drop shipping. Your profit margins aren't huge. But I'll tell you what, making 18% off of a $358 sale is still a little bit of money, isn't it? We're still making $64 on that. Do the math on that. 64 times 7, that's $450 a week, times 52 weeks. That's $23,000 a year off of that kind of a margin, if you were to sell that item every single day, right? Guys, this is doable stuff. When you break down the numbers a little bit And you don't look at the bigger picture saying, hey, I need to make $75,000 a year for this to be worth my time, but rather look at how much do I need to make per day to make that worth my time. All of a sudden things become doable. Let's say if your goal is simply just to make an extra $30,000 a year, right? Well, divide 30,000 by 12, that's $2,500 a month is what you need to make. Right? That's doable. Divide that by, 30 days in a month, you only need to make $83 a day. And those are doable numbers. And then you break that down into what we're doing here, and you only need to make a few sales a day to make that happen. So, but I don't want you guys to fret over price as much. We always worry, well, am I pricing it right? Well, maybe I'm too high, maybe I'm too low. That's a conversation worth having. But when you're first starting to do retail drop shipping, speed is going to be paramount. And if you can't crank these listings out very quickly, none of it's going to matter anyway. So I want you to get this equation down pat so that you can do this over and over again. Yeah, so Jessica, I don't figure in the fees when I do the markup. That's the whole reason why this number right here makes sense. That's why I choose 1.45. Because included within this number is the 13%. That's inside this number right here. So I just skip that step altogether. I don't need to if I just include it here. Does that make sense? Otherwise, if we were going to calculate this on top of it, this multiplier wouldn't be as high, right? This would be more like, 1.3 as a multiplier, 1.32. But no, we do 1.45. Okay. Let's do another example. Let's grab something off Walmart this time, just to make sure this is sticking with you guys. And I really only think you guys should ultimately be selling things, if you're doing retail drop shipping, worth at least $50. Otherwise, it isn't worth your time. So let's go. Something in toddler decor. And let's see if I can't find something that's going to be worth our time. I'm going to filter here just items that are $25 and more. Here you go. Okay, so let's take a look at this little hunting cabin house tent, okay? And let's run our formula with it. Okay, so the price from Walmart is what? It's $70, $70.16, but let's round on this. I can title this Walmart example. Okay, so price. Wow, here we go. 70, right? How much is shipping on that? That's always my next question. Free, it looks like. And notice too, it's sold by Walmart. I really only like you guys to do items on Walmart that are sold by Walmart. They've got some partners that they work with. So it's sold and shipped by Walmart. Free shipping. Okay, everything looks good there. So there's going to be no shipping cost. So now we can work our formula, can't we? We've got our unknowns. We've got our price and shipping. That's all we need to know. So I'm going to go 70 plus 0 for shipping, right? That equals 70. And then we're going to multiply that by 1.1, right? That's the sales tax. Okay, so do the math on that. 70 times 1.1. We've got a $77 raw cost. And what do we do there, guys? We multiply all that by what? 1.45, which includes eBay fees and profit. Our sales price on this item will be 77 times 1.45. That'll be about, we'll say about 112. So I'm going to do 111.99 will be my sales price. That's it. I'm done. You don't need to go through what I did up in the example above by calculating profit margin. We'll do that just for fun here in just a second, but there it is. There's my price. eBay fees are included in our multiplier. PayPal fees are included in our multiplier. Getting a reasonable profit margin is included in our multiplier. Okay? So guys, I'm hoping this is making sense. You can price things very quickly without thinking too hard about it. You don't have to go out there and compare on eBay. We're operating under the assumption that if you're using keywords correctly and listing something very efficiently, you can get found higher than your competition and also be visible sometimes when your competition is not, and you'll still make sales even if the stuff is cheaper out there on eBay from other sellers. I know that works. I've seen it 100,000 times. It will work for you, okay? Now let's calculate profit margin for fun. How do we calculate profit margin? Well, let's look at what comes home. So we sold it for 112. We need to minus $77 from our raw cost, right? So 112 minus the 77. Let's figure that out first. That leaves us with 35. Okay? Now, if we sold it for 112, eBay and PayPal is 13% of that. That's about $15. Okay? That's from eBay and PayPal fees. So our total profit on this thing is going to be 35 minus 15, which is going to be 20 bucks, right? Okay, well, we made $20. If I want to find profit margin, I take 20 and I put that over, I divide that by my sales price, 112. Profit margin is, once again, 18%. Now, if I feel like I'm priced too high, okay, and you guys want to adjust your prices a little bit, you can play with the multiplier. Instead of 1.45, which is a 45% increase, you could try 1.4 or a 1.38. You can play with that number, but I think a good safe bet to ensure that you've got a reasonable profit margin to start is 18%. Okay, let's do one more example. Guys, are you following along with this? Is this okay for most of you guys who are here with me live? Let's do one more example and make sure we're all on the same page, okay? Okay, here we are in Target. Now here's the first thing that I realize about Target. I know this is small, but I'm circling it anyway. It says free shipping on orders of $35 plus or $35 or more. So I know I've got to select something that's more than $35, don't I? And then I can get free shipping. Well, we talked about that anyway. I want items that are probably around $50 or more to start with. So let's just go to a category. What do we want to do this time? We'll do luggage this time. And we'll do, let's do briefcases. Let's grab this one right up top. This is 80 bucks, okay? We know everything we need to know at this point. 80 bucks. We know the shipping is free. Why do we know it's free? Because it's more than $35. So here we go. Here's our Target example. And I'm going to go just a little bit faster on this one, okay? But you've got the idea, so you can follow along. 80 plus 0 in shipping equals $80, right? Multiply that by 1.1, which is our sales tax. Okay? We're always going to multiply it by 1.1. That's going to equal what? It's going to be $88, isn't it? And then we're going to multiply that by our multiplier, which is 1.45. 88 times 1.45 is $128, so I'm going to do $127.99. There's my sales price. Done, just like that. That took us, what, 8 seconds to figure that out? Right? It's quick. It probably would have taken us 8 seconds if I didn't have to type it and walk through it like that. That's how quickly you can come up with price. Very easy to do. How's my profit margin? Well, I'll bet it's good. You guys don't have to calculate this, but I'm just showing you this so you guys know it works. I come home with $128. I've got to minus my cost for my supplier, which is $88. That's going to equal $40, right? 128 minus 88 is $40. Okay, but if I sold it for 128, I need to multiply that by 13% because that is that's my eBay and PayPal fees, right? So that's going to be I'm going to round that up to $17. That's the 13% of sales. Okay, so 40 minus 17, I'm going to make 23 in profit. Take 23, divide that by 128, and that equals 18%. Right? See that, guys? I'm telling you, this is the easy way to do it. And look, I know there's other ways to price this stuff. I know there's other options. I just don't think as a newer seller and even as an intermediate seller that you should be flirting with any of the other ways. Just take your 18%, like I'm showing you here. It's a good profit margin. It really is. You may say, well, that seems kind of low. Well, it does relative to maybe, stocking your own inventory. Wholesale drop shipping, you can usually get better profit margins, but in the retail drop shipping world, 18% is pretty solid. You could make a steady diet off of less than that if you wanted to, but I also want to make this worth your time. I think that's a good multiplier, okay? So do this. Use this strategy to speed up your listings. Stop fretting over pricing. This should fix the issue. You've seen an example with Amazon, Walmart, and Target right now. You don't have to do this extra step. You just have to do what I showed you here. Price, 80, plus shipping 0 equals 80, times by the estimated sales tax rate, 1.1. Gives us our raw cost from our supplier at 88. Multiply that by our 1.45 multiplier, which gives us $128 as our sales price. That's it. And I've heard it a million times before. You're overpricing. You're going to have a hard time selling. Well, try me, right? We're not just blowing smoke here. We feel like this is what works, and it does. So try it. If we can't convert off of this, we can lower the multiplier. But my guess is if you're like most of us, you will convert. And this will be a really positive experience, and you won't have to fret so much about price. All right? Okay, guys, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, contact your coach. I'm gonna turn off the recording now. I'll take another question or two if you guys have them, and then we'll finish up. If you're watching this recorded, thanks for coming along.